Alright, welcome to this new video on my channel, and welcome to the grand opening of the new, completely rebranded and completely remade MEMORIYAmetro. First things first, the game is quite laggy, and you might also notice the change in my avatar. That is just pretty much quite some sort of experiment I'm currently doing, so I'm just pretty much experimenting with some new avatars and some stuff that I changed. You know, I was just kind of bored of the old avatar I had with that, you know, that beard and so on, that blonde avatar that just looked kind of weird at some point. So I just had the idea to adapt like suggestion one of my friends brought up. He showed me some clothing that I could use for such an avatar, and yeah, I just thought it would look good and so on, so kind of a different aesthetic or whatever you would call it. But that is not really the main part of this video that I'm doing today. Today we're going to be talking about the new project I've been working on for the past about 7 months I believe. And yeah, it was begun in May 2023, and it was planned for some months before that, so it is pretty much beyond 9 months. Might also be called like maybe already a year. Like the first idea of this whole concept of making a completely new system came up pretty much about a year ago. Yeah, I originally intended to bring out this whole thing and release and make a video about it like in December, like a few days after Christmas. That was how I intended it, but it didn't quite turn out that way because I was just pretty much busy with like, you know, work, school, and all that stuff, and yeah, that was just the issue that I was kind of concerned with. I didn't want to waste all too much time on this project and just, you know, give myself a little bit more time to finish this whole thing. I wanted to also give myself some time to finish the Metro, to like not speed it up, like make it so that I was doing it on like pressure or something, and that would just make the stations and so on, the whole artwork itself, not make that would just make it look pretty cheap made. Like, I think I'm just gonna start off by showing you quite the most planned and most effort, you know, the station that I just put the most effort in this whole network. So yeah, it was also the first station that I started to work on, like in the very beginning, and I already showed you in a video I made quite a few months ago. I showed you the first steps I made on building it, like digging the first tunnels, and you know, I think I should probably turn down the graphics a little bit, because that is just hell currently. Yeah, you can see that there's quite some major differences in the whole network, because this is not a station that only covers like a little bit of like a certain sector of the center of the park. So it used to be pretty much more like an actual theme park, but it pretty much turned out to be more of a city at this point. So you can see it has also pretty much changed a lot over the time that I built this whole thing. So you can see that there used to be, I hope you can see my mouse, you can see that there was a sort of lake or sea that was located at this place, like to the west of the west border of the city, so to say, at the city edge. And recently, like I think it was in December or November, there was an expansion going on, an update with expansion tiles. So yeah, I just used those expansion tiles to make some upgrades to the city landscape. So what you can see here, there's a expanded river, because there only used to be like a lake here in this place. And yeah, I just pretty much made a port out of it to the east of the park, city, whatever you gotta call it. And yeah, pretty much made it so that I could hit those expansions a bit earlier, so that I wouldn't have to, like, you know, I already knew about the update that they were dropped, so I already started working on the metro itself after I planned it for like 2 months or something, like the whole network and so on, because it was just completely new. So to put it into perspective for you, this whole thing, I think you can see right here, this is the current city center. This is like the east entrance at the main street, so to say. So it is located here at this central skyscraper, like the second oldest skyscraper, as far as I can tell. And there's also another western entrance and, so to say, far west entrance, and there's also like pedestrian zone underground that leads from this station, the city center station as I call it, leads to the other edge of the city center, where there's now a park with a so to say pedestrian bridge. Yeah, I won't go into detail on all stations today, so I will probably release some videos where I actually do like whole drive-thrus through all the stations in the upcoming weeks and so on. So what you can see here, the platforms are quite a difference to the old metro system that you can probably still remember. I actually intended to make like videos where you'd see like drive-thrus of the old lines, so before I would tear down the old metro system, but I was like, you know, I didn't mind that aspect and just decided to go with it like this. Yeah, and it was maybe not the smartest idea I ever had, but you know, by the way, if I'm talking a bit silently, it is just because I'm a bit tired, because I'm just back from vacation that I had with my class from Berlin, or to Berlin, and yeah, crazy stuff. Yeah, you can see definitely that the major difference here that I already started to explain is that the platforms here are at the exact same height as the trains. So you can see right here the train is entering, and the platform isn't like at the ground level of the normal paths that are in the game. There are primitives that are like heightened up to the actual height of the train, so that you can actually realistically enter the train at the exact same height, and so that it's just more realistic to what a normal real metro system is like. And also you can simply do a lot more with these primitive tiles instead of the normal paths, because, you know, here you can still see the entrances and so on sticking out of the platform. But there's something completely different, and yeah, I can't really fix that. I tried to like make some bricks or something that would cover it up somehow, but that just didn't look good, and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna let it be like this. As you can see, by the way, the trains are still in testing mode, because I'm only now gonna open the whole system. So yeah, let's just do that. Open. That is the U1. Alright, I seem to have gotten an achievement through that. I don't know why. This is the U2. Another one of the new ones. Open. They all have the same price, by the way, so they are all $9 for the guests of the park. It isn't too, you know, costly. It isn't too cheap either. And let me go over is Memoria North, which is directly located at the Memoria Center, like a skyscraper here. Yep. One thing you're also gonna notice is that not every single station, not every single outlet has signs that have the station's name on them. So I just decided that it wouldn't really make sense, because you can see that most signs are just getting censored over time for absolutely no apparent reason. And there's also quite some yeah, changes to how I wrote the signs, like the font is different, and also I simply didn't write the exact name, but pretty much changed it from sign to sign, because I figured it for some reason censors signs that have the exact same text. So I just kind of changed, you know, there's 2 M's, here is 1 M, and so on, so that it would just recognize the text as a different one. Now you can see the light breaking in. Well, and you can also see that the station entrances are completely different. They are not different at all in the other way to interpret it, because now I've developed a unitary design for how the stations and the outlets and, you know, the entrances look. There's it's a pretty basic design. So I think I'm just gonna show it to you on the base of the, you know, stations on the center. So here you can see that they are all the same colors, or almost all have the same colors. They are gray with a kind of fading undertone, pretty basic. It goes from black to gray to white, pretty much. And it also has this symbol, this new logo, or whatever you're gonna call it. Like, the whole metro system now has a unique branding that is all over the system, also influences the design of the stations. And yeah, if you're just gonna go down here, you're also gonna see, aside from this small restaurant that I designed for marketing purposes, you're also gonna see that the logo, or the symbol of this metro, is now also here on the sign wall. I actually didn't really intend to make this symbol in the beginning, because it was just kind of like a kind of experiment. I just was pretty intensely searching for something to put in this place, because I wasn't sure how to design the sidewalls from some point. Here you have kind of like a fake entrance. Here you have this symbol that I just randomly designed with no actual like interpretation or any kind of meaning. Yeah, and I just figured, okay, it looks pretty good in my opinion, and I just chose to use it as the entire symbol of the entire metro system. And now you can see all over the system, on all entrances, instead of the metro letters, like in the old system there always used to be instead of this symbol, or simply metro, there used to be, you know, on the signs it used to say simply U, because here in Germany the metro is called U-Bahn, which is U-Bahn, which is like underground. So they simply have the letter U, and because it was simply censored, I simply figured out, okay, I'm just gonna use, as you can see, primitives. Like, I simply made them smaller with this, you know, with this advanced editor. Made them smaller, copied them everywhere, and so on. So this copy feature didn't actually release quite until recently, so it was in one of the latest updates that it was released, and it was pretty practical, because many structures and many, well, especially these symbols, I didn't have to do them every single time again on every single sign, so I just could duplicate them and copy paste them everywhere. That was pretty practical. Yeah, so back to the design. Here you can see that the station entrances have the same lights at the entrance to signalize for people who, I don't know, want indication. So it's a pretty subtle lighting that just shows you, okay, here's the entrance. It is a lightly blue shaded light. These small bulbs that are at the ceiling of the station entrance simply indicate that here's the stairs. So it's pretty simple, but it's pretty effective in my opinion. And here you can also see this design of, I don't know, some sort of art, or whatever you're gonna call it, just sort of fit into the composition of the whole station. So yeah, I hope it looks good, or it looks fair enough. You can always see these colors repeating themselves, like sand type of colors, like yellowish type of colors, or orange colors. And yeah, that is the whole point of this design line. Yeah, hope it is acceptable. Oh yeah, we wanted to open the rest of the line. So actually, while I'm talking about it, currently in the line, or in the scheme, in the system, there are 4 lines. Originally, in the alternate first plans, I used to plan to make like 3 lines, which is the U1, which you can see over there, the U2, which is on this platform, and the U3, which is now called the S1, which you can see when you go through this pedestrian zone over to the station that we just looked at, to Memoria Forum North. This is the S1, formerly the U3. And yeah. No, wait. Sorry, I'm stupid, that isn't the S1. This is still the U2. This is the S1. It has the color orange or yellow, or whatever you're gonna call it. The U1 is blue, the U2 is red, and another line that is in use here after the expansion was happening. Like, I added the line to compensate for, you know, a lack of you know, connection to the furthermost eastern bounds of the park and so on. So this is the art garden station, or whatever you're gonna call it, art park or something. This is the S2. Yeah. So in the end it is 4 lines instead of 3. The old metro system used to have like 6 lines or something, I think, and in the end it only had like 5 or 4 also, but it wasn't as effective. And as you know, as I explained in the old video, this new system was supposed to like replace the old system in the way that makes it more effective and just simply makes getting around the park and the city just more simple. Yeah, and simply to be more effective, have less lines with more stations all over the park that simply connect the whole park more well than the old system. And simply to make these like changes, like with the platform height that I made, and just simply to completely rebrand the stations and so on. Like, you can see that the design of the stations is way more detailed, and yes, you have all these lines, these small details and small ditches and so on, and small curves in the facade and so on. And you simply didn't have all that in the old system. The old system was pretty bland and so to say pretty basic. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna use this time now to simply give you a quick overview of how the new system works. Yeah, I actually currently plan to make even a 5th line to compensate for some minor flaws of the system. So there's some issues that I'm gonna go over in a minute. So I hope you can see pretty well from here. Oh god. If you see my mouse over here, I'm just gonna show the station that is to the exactly to the south terminus, the southwest terminus of the U1, which is pretty much the main axis of the whole park. It begins here at what did I call it? Old rail port or something. So there used to be like old rails laying around in the area, and I transformed that area into some sort of port that I'm actually gonna transform, because the whole metro will also be like added up with another type of transportation that is pretty much revolutionary or new, because the metro isn't going to be on itself, because there will be some sort of ferry, or how you're going to call it. So it's basically like a boat, or not really a boat, but it's, well, you get the point. It is, I hope I can find it, water rights. Exactly, so you can see these boat carts, and they are just gonna go over the entire river in the park. I don't know what I'll call the river. I don't know, probably something Memoria River, like it is called Memoria Park, so Memoria River it'll be. And yeah, we'll probably go here exactly from the station I just talked about, from the U1 southern terminus of Old Rail Port. It will go over here. There will be an island in U1 that we're still planning. We'll connect that, we'll connect this port that is right next to the Memoria Forum, north. We'll pretty much go over that area. You can't really see the river right now because it's not rendering properly, I don't know why. Yeah, we'll just kind of go over here. I specifically made these bridges that I made here to connect these new areas as high as possible, so that the boats can pass through under them. And yeah, they will pass at this station. One line will end here. One line will go here through the city center, or the northern border of the city center, and then we'll go to the right and simply terminate somewhere here at Art Port, which is another major station in the park. Exactly. So I once again forgot to open the S1 and the S2, which I wanted to do. Yeah, so you can basically just see that the park has more lines and it is simply more efficient than the old system. Open. One thing that that each of the two lines have in common is that the lines that have the letter assigned them, the letter U assigned to them, like U1, U2, they are gonna be, or they are the number, the lines that are going through the city center. So U1 goes here over to this station here, goes here to lower grounds, which is pretty much the entrance, goes north here and then to the city center, then goes over to this area at the river, passes under the river, goes here to this station, which is pretty much the entrance to this southern part of the city, or even another city. I simply call it a village that I added to the south or northern border of the city. I called it Rundorf. I'm not sure if I will keep that name, but it will pretty much remain for now. And yeah, it goes over a overground section here, and terminates at its northern bound here at another part of Grundorf. Yeah, the U2, or let's say it like this, the U1 has 2 terminus stations, which the U2 doesn't. The U2 is a circle line, and I simply call it the city circle, so to say, because it starts here, as you can see, at the Memoriyametro North station. Then goes to the city center, then goes to the Uni Center, and then over to the station which is here in the far east of the city, which is still one of the areas that I'm still going to expand in some way, because there is still not much built there, but that will change. Yeah, it will, and then it goes simply back, not over the same stations as those other lines goes, but it goes over here, over this area, which I called Otto Palace, and then goes back here to the Memoriyametro North. So it is pretty much the line that adds up to the U1. The U1 connecting almost the whole park, while the U2 intensifies the transport in the city center. And they both stop at city center station. The S1 and the S2 don't do that. So the S1 is a circle line, which goes all the way from in this bound from the park. I'm just not gonna go into deep detail, but it simply doesn't go through the city center, but rather connects the borders of the park, pretty much. Yeah, and in contrast to that, the S2, the line that I added in the further stages of planning, is a line like the U1. It is a line that has 2 terminus stations. It starts here at its eastern terminus, which is here. I simply call it hotel station, because there is this hotel building, so to say. Well, it's officially called Art Port, but I still sometimes call it hotel station, because it used to be called that in the old system. Goes here through the line of the river, goes under this station, which is called Black Rock Station, and goes through Grundorf, once underground, then overground, under the U1 station, and then goes under here, and goes here, exactly below me, to terminate at Art Park Station. So yeah, pretty interesting system, pretty different to the old one, a lot more professional if I went out to rate that. Yeah, and I'm just gonna open the whole thing up for the II guests. Let some friends also test the whole system, like some people I know in real life, some people I know in Roblox, or on Discord, better to say, because I don't really know anyone on Roblox anymore, because, I don't know, Discord is a better place than that, obviously. So, and they pretty much gave some feedback, said what I could improve on this whole thing, gave some compliments, gave some criticism, and yeah, I pretty much improved after that. So in the past month I pretty much only spent time on testing the whole system and seeing what I could improve and what I could do better from what I already improved. So constant improvement up to this point where I'm opening it. Yeah, so you'll see way more details and more stations of this whole system in a later video. And yeah, I'm also gonna go over some more details in this video, however. By the way, I'm gonna remove these fences that close off the stations to AI guests later after this video, because I'm too lazy to do it right now. Yeah, so something you can also see on the platforms while we're here. In the city center they have mostly these light panels or neon panels that are laying or are situated all over the ground. They were originally intended to, they were supposed to lit up one after the other when a train is entering the station or is about to enter the station, so as to warn the guests and the people who use it. So, yeah, another thing that you probably notice is this orange stripe that is located right at the edge of the platform. It simply is pretty much a gap filler. As you can see, there is pretty much no gap between the train and the platform, and simply makes it look better, in my opinion. Yeah, and I didn't yet script the whole thing. Like, I was supposed to write the whole script for every single station, and that just takes a lot of time, and I don't want to do that. I'm too lazy, and yeah, I'm just gonna do that at a later stage. Yeah, quick detail that you're gonna find in this station, for example, as you can see, and as I already mentioned, it's called MEMORIYAmetro North station, and I used primitives, as in most stations, to make some more details. For example, you know, as this building is outside of the station, MEMORIYAmetro, because Memoria Center is skyscraper. There is miniature versions of this building or this skyscraper in this station. It took quite some time to make it because it's pretty much, well, pretty detailed work. And yeah, but in the end it worked out perfectly, and yeah, it looks pretty good in my opinion. And there is also a stylistic element in this font or this primitive kind of thing I made. North, it says, with a light stripe in the middle of it. And yeah, it simply is a station that is pretty symmetrical. It was planned a way that, you know, the center is pretty evidently pointed out. You can very clearly see where you have to leave the station when you leave the train. And yeah, crazy stuff. The trains themselves also have a different livery than the old system had, so you can see that it's pretty much gray, gray floor, but with some beige seats, or how you call it in English, and they don't have all one color, they all have the color of their assigned line. So yeah, interesting stuff. Yeah, here you can also walk through the whole pedestrian zone. Here you have a third entrance and exit to the station on this way, on this path. Yeah, simply to make it more accessible, because, you know, in the old system there was the issue that many stations simply had like one entrance on one side, and that was not very dynamic, not very positive from a city planning standpoint of view. So when you can, it is better to have like these platforms that are under the ground, like as you can see here. I should probably cover that up. Yeah. Well, as you can see here, the platform is below us, and the positive thing is, or the benefit is, if you have multiple exits, that you simply have a more dynamic exit way for the passengers, because they can simply go out from the platform, have a center stage, like they don't go out directly from the platform itself, but first step go to a second floor that is located right here in the middle between the platform level and the ground level, and they can choose where they want to go. So if you go out here, for example, you have a way to like go in the way to this southern section at the skyscraper. If you go in on the other hand to this exit, you can go to the other part of the Memoria Forum, which is the port, the small port, the harbor. Or if you want to go out and have a walk on this path, you can go to the third exit. So yeah, pretty dynamic. You can do a lot more stuff, do a lot more interesting things. Simply have your way and decide where you want to go. That is more dynamic, more efficient, and simply more practical for all the passengers, whether it be AI guests or you know, normal other guests or people from other parks or other players that are in the server that wanna see the park and navigate around town with the metro. Once again, Roblox is doing some crazy stuff, because Roblox is pretty much useless. Yeah. So maybe I'll go into detail with all the changes that I did on the park itself recently in another video, but that is not aspect of this current video. Roblox is a piece of shit. Have I already mentioned that? Yeah. Actually, I have no really good explanation why I called this station Otto Palace, other than the fact that there's a German comedian who's called Otto Walkes, and while I was designing this station, or planning this station, I listened to one of his podcasts, and because I simply didn't come up with a better name, I simply chose to name it after him. So yeah, pretty unique name, not with a lot of logic behind it, but you get the point. Yeah, and actually another pretty interesting thing that I made for this park not so long ago is this colorful bridge, and maybe you're gonna notice that the colors are, for some reason, without intentionally doing it on purpose, I designed the bridge and the glass panels in the Romanian colors. It wasn't my intention, but you know, whatever. Once again, it was specifically designed so that the boats could drive under it, so I originally intended to make it low floor, so there would be no steps and so on, but I intended, I made it a bit higher, so that boats could pass under it, and so you can also have a better view of the park. Here you have the middle section where the AI guests can sit. You can look at the Opera House, you can look at the river, and you can walk down here over to Gründorf Prospect, and yeah, look at the metro going underground, overground, and so on. Yeah, there's quite some interesting designs that are on this line, and maybe I sound a bit, I don't know, selfish to call my own designs that I came up with on my own good looking, but I think it just looks pretty interesting, pretty good, in my opinion. You have this kind of sky, subtle sky that has these small stars, so to say, that lit up the sky for people, especially as you could just see at night. It looks pretty good. And yeah, it's pretty much just a good thing to have this whole thing, and yeah, my opinion, it just simply looks fantastic. So kind of a backstory right here, because I actually started playing chess more recently, or started playing chess more often recently, and yeah, I probably had some inspiration from the chessboard to simply design this seating, this rooftop like this. and yeah, it simply makes a more spacious impression to people who use the station, because, you know, older stations were more flat in the old network, and they simply didn't quite, you know, feel good, you know. Actually, I tried to implement some older design elements from older stations on some new stations. So, for example, I think you remember that there used to be some sort of mall or shopping center around this area where this garden or art park is right now, and where the river passes through. There used to be a station that was pretty much cyan colored or blue-greenish colored, and I pretty much took that over to some extent in this station, and yeah, made it look made it look a bit more dynamic, made it look a bit more interesting, and you know, no idea what this is, but yeah. Well, there are still some issues. I obviously did a lot of checkups on the whole stations and to check over and over again that everything is perfect and ready for release. But there are still some areas that are, as you can see, not well lit up and don't have enough lights to, you know, make everything perfectly visible. But that is something that I'm probably going to correct over time of the next few months, and you know, simply when I have time. It's simply a project of mine, a simple hobby of mine to do this whole thing, simply to develop my artistic, not artistic, but artistic tendencies. Yeah. Simply a way to release some energy and simply to spend some time with something that is not as complicated as other things in life. The skyline is pretty interesting, by the way, because I just think that this revamped city center and this new glass bridge with the Romanian tree color simply adds up pretty well to the skyline and just looks pretty good in my opinion. So you can say what you want in the comments. I'm gladly gonna read it all. So this is one of those stations that don't have this typical kind of entrance that you can also see over here. I simply had kind of a idea randomly pop up in my head to design this entrance like this, because it's simply a hill, some kind of, not really mountain, but like, you know, a rock. And yeah, it simply gives off a more spacious look. You have more space, more room here. Yeah, it's a bit dark, to be honest, but you know, I'm not in the mood to change that right now. It's pretty much a simply dark station, and yeah, it simply has its own aesthetic. A different entrance here also. Here you can go right over to Gründorf. It's an area of the park that is not finished yet, so there are still many details to still do. Like this is simply generally like the first basic build of the area, like to simply have something that AI guests can walk through, because obviously I didn't want to like open the system without these stations that are already built here in the north. I simply opened the area that is not entirely finished yet to simply give myself some time so I can do it later when the metro system is already done and opened, because I simply wanted to, you know, bring it behind me. So yeah, pretty interesting stations right here, because I recently started to use this color red more again, because I simply find it would look pretty good, and I simply thought of making this area a bit look more like how I used to design the park, like with those gray buildings that I've red ceilings or red rooftops and so on. Just looks pretty romantic to me, and yeah, just looks a bit more, you know, a bit more calming, soothing, and so on. Yeah, the station is also a bit more detailed than the stations that used to be over the ground, so yeah, I hope you like it. I definitely do hope. So, obviously you also have a very great overview of the skyline from this station right here. Yeah, and the S2 kind of has a more, you know, simple train aesthetic, right? Like, doesn't really give off a metro aesthetic, doesn't really feel like a real metro, but more like simply a regional train or something that simply drives through here. And yeah, quite an interesting, pretty much, in my opinion, even the most interesting segment of stations in the whole park is located right here on the S2 and the S1 lines, because, well, they are simply more new, newer, modern. I simply had some more new ideas, fresher ideas over the time, and so on. So, yeah. We're just gonna hop on the train and have a simple look. You can already see that a few players are already walking around the park and taking a look at the new areas and new metro stations that are designed. I know almost none of them, but yeah. We meet new people all the time and they simply give new ideas when they give feedback and so on, and that's just part of the process, you know. It's just interesting to share your ideas with other people that you meet in game and so on, and that really doesn't depend on age and so on. So obviously I can make better looking stations because I simply have a lot more experience with such kind of architecture and so on than you know, the younger players, like people who are still like 13 or something. I'm 18 at this point, and I still play this game. I simply like it, I simply adore it. I don't really play any other games on Roblox anymore because, well, obviously it's a game that's simply pretty much self-explanatory. Yeah, I simply like this game still to this day because it simply gives you such a great way to express yourself, simply release some of your creativity and simply let all those other thoughts of the day fade away while you work on buildings in this park or your city or whatever you do in this game. It just gives you great opportunities and it's just very relaxing. So, to change the topic, this station connects the Gründorf terminus of the U1 here with the S2. I think I shouldn't commentate all too much on the design. You can simply have your own look at it. Here you also have the logo and so on, but obviously the area around here isn't finished yet, obviously. So there is still a fence here that blocks people from going there. And also this area is still not finished. Even though I think this entrance is pretty good looking in my opinion. Especially with these neon stripes and so on. This area simply has a more, like it simply is based off two certain colors or a few certain colors and not like as colorful as the rest of the city. Like there you have like buildings that are black, white, red, blue, whatever. Here you simply have a red, white, blackish area. And it's simply a bit more simple, a bit more aesthetic. I use that word a lot and yeah. It's just very fitting to describe this city, this little village that is still in development. There's gonna be a lot of houses in here and I'm pretty much gonna revamp a lot of areas around here. So probably, for example, these trees are not gonna make it through the next month or whatever. But this but it is all just gonna change pretty rapidly over the time, and yeah, I don't know, many things are gonna be yeah, coming to us. Yeah. Next station is also pretty interesting. I'm pretty much just showing you the most interesting stations already, because the rest are gonna be subject matter to another video that I'm gonna do, or more videos where I'm gonna go over every one of the 4 lines and explain like the details, and simply make a drive through as a passenger and show every station without all too much commentary, without all too much commentary, but simply to let you have a look at all this stuff that I've built over the past like 7 months. Simply was a lot of time and effort I put into it. Actually, now that I think about it, it was 9 months, because it's now February and I started the whole thing in May of 2023. So you can pretty much imagine what kind of amount of work I've put into this whole thing. Yeah, with a lot of breaks, because obviously, yeah, I have things to do outside of this game, obviously, friends and so on, and vacation, all other sorts of stuff. I've been to Bavaria in this time. I've been to Berlin, as I've mentioned, and been to the northern shore and so on. And also these whole experiences that I've had in real life are also part of the things that inspired many aspects of this system, many station designs and so on. And yeah, just kind of gave me a boost to, or like ideas to experiment a bit more with the whole the whole artwork around the system and so on. And yeah, here you can see one of the more aesthetic and more simplistic kind of designs in this line, with sort of bricks that simply lit up the station. Yeah. Oh yeah, interesting stuff also around here is that all of the rails also have settings that tell the train how fast to move. So I scripted the rails in order to make the train go faster in spots where he can go faster, and slower where he isn't supposed to go as fast, to make it more realistic. And that is also a possibility that I discovered pretty recently. And yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff, pretty crazy stuff. Yeah, so I'm pretty much a fan of the station. Pretty much, maybe it is in some way inspired by certain stations in my hometown of Hamburg. But yeah, that is up to you and others to rate and so on. So yeah, simple station, simple black to grey walls and so on. You already saw all this. Yeah, it's just pretty interesting to look at this whole thing and simply let it work out on you. So the whole thing is that the system was meant to look more professional than the old one, and front of all and primarily the system has stations that aren't as overworked or overdone, like way too many colors or way too many different styles and so on, and way too many lights or something that is too bright, too colorful, or whatever. It is simply made with a certain type of design line based off 2 light colors, which is sand color and blue color, which have 2 different kind of effects on the viewer or the visitor. I wanted to, as you can see, the other station had more of a yellowish, sand-ish type of color on the lighting, and here you can have like blue lighting. And actually a pretty interesting design that I randomly had pop up in my head quite some time ago. very, very detailed, and in my opinion it's probably the most beautiful station in the whole system. It's just, yeah, just take a look at it, just looks very good. Yeah. Yeah, here you have the underpass of the station. Here you can go to the one exit of the station. I don't remember what it's called, but anyway, you can go here, you can go there. You have two exits that are at the both coasts or sides of the river. And yeah, you can change over to the to the U2, which is the city circle. You can already see you've entered the city itself and exited Rundorf. And yeah, I think the next station that is up is the, I don't remember its name, but it's also already one of the stations that is situated right at this river and pretty much at the border of the city center. You can already hear me yawning. I'm pretty tired and just a bit more silent because of that and not really that down to my explanations, and I hope you can understand me pretty well. Yeah. This is also pretty much one of the most beautiful stations in my opinion in the Seoul system, the Seoul Remake system, because it looks pretty cool. I just like the color blue. I just like this combination of blue with blue lights and grey colors and grey steel, and just take a look at it. It just looks very, very balanced, very good to me. Ah yeah, this is the Unicenter station, or the Uniforum or whatever. This is U2, City Circle once again. Yeah, I try to, you know, you can see these roses or these kind of paintings on the side walls. They were already in the station that was here in the old system, and I simply, some friends told me that they really liked this design idea, so I kept it, and I hope it fits the station pretty well. So maybe it doesn't look quite as good as the old station does, or did, because, you know, these sand color lights don't really match this blue color. Maybe I'm just gonna repaint and maybe remake some stations. That is subject to change, subject to debate, and I'm just gonna assume that I'm just gonna decide whenever I'm ready to what I'm gonna do next. You can also see that many of these walls and so on, and simply the stations are more dynamic looking and on this like straight linear or something. So you can see that it doesn't go in a straight line. It's pretty curvy, has more curves and so on, and more what do you call it? And yeah, the next station is already gonna be the terminus of the line. And yeah, pretty much the most beautiful segment of the park probably. There's many stations that are going to be, as already mentioned, going to be remade or repainted or revamped a little bit, because they simply were made pretty much in a rush in the last month of work. So for example, this is by the way the Artport station in the southeast of the park. I'm not really a fan of this design of this station, for example, so you can obviously see that it's pretty simple, pretty oversimplistic even, and yeah, it just doesn't really look good in my opinion, and you know, it's just could be better. I'm probably gonna remake some things, and I don't really have many ideas yet, and probably I'm just gonna take a break a long break from this whole metro thing and park thing and generally theme park Tycoon 2 and so on. After this whole thing, to just simply have a creative, you know, break to get some new ideas into my head. That is, yeah, just gonna be something different for once. Simply some time to rethink some things and have something new flow through my head or whatever. Simply get some new fresh air, a new wave of air into my head and get some new ideas. So this is, by the way, the base of a new skyscraper that is going to be built somewhere soon. So I simply made this entrance to make it combined with this platform for the skyscraper. As you can see, it's pretty spacious once again, and it's situated directly at the river. There's a border between the river and the station entrance that is only 1 meter long or 1 meter wide. So there's no perimeter here, that is simply a wall. And yeah, it's I actually took quite some time to make it look as good as possible. So you know, there's some details, there's some like, it has a certain flow, a certain dynamic. The station designs sand colorish with a combination of white and grey in attribution to this design of the skyscraper so far. Probably a project that I'm gonna be making quite some updates about in the next months or whatever, or whenever I have time. And yeah, you can simply have a look here at how this station was designed and so on. Simply, yeah, it had its effect on you. I'm a fan of most of it, and yeah, I hope so are you. By the way, I hope my German accent isn't still all too thick, and that you can understand what I'm talking about well enough. Yeah, I'm trying to reduce my accent as much as possible because it's simply pretty annoying at some point that I'm constantly having issues with like saying the things I want to say and so on. And yeah, even though I'm pretty much fluent in English, I still have this extremely thick accent. Yeah, it's pretty annoying, and I don't know, I'm just gonna try to make my way out of it and improve my English over the next time, or maybe more my English pronunciation. So, changing topics, this is one of the last stations that I'm going to show you in this review, or this premiere video, or whatever. It is the lower ground station. It is located directly in the entrance, and as you can see, I adapted the design line of the sky, or the blue or black sky over the station, with the ceiling with these small lights that resemble stars. When I recently was in Berlin, actually 3 days ago, when I was at the Station Museumsinsel in Berlin, it had pretty much the same kind of aesthetic with this blue, you know, ceiling with the lights and so on, and some green, with some grey tones, with some grey accents. And yeah, I just really like that design. It's pretty simple once again, but I'm really a fan of those kind of designs, and you can pretty much see it all over the line, all over the system here. Yeah, different entrance once again. Here the two lines U1 and S1 pass through. It was actually pretty complicated to make this whole thing work, because as you can see, there's a big intersection here, and there's trains from the line U1 passing through in one direction, in the other direction, in another direction, from the S1 passing through, and so on and so forth. Very complicated stuff, and I had to actually make like small markers or dots that would signalize where I was supposed to put the rails through. Pretty horrendous stuff and pretty complicated. 1 second. Sorry, that was a quick break. Now I forgot what I was talking about. Anyways, interesting design, interesting stuff, crazy stuff. Completely revamped area here around this area, with another sign that was censored and so on. Pretty annoying. Can't change it. Whatever. As you can see, there used to be the main railway station, central station, right at this direction, or this point in this park. So, yeah, crazy stuff. It was changed into a park with a small island here, with a small lake, so to say, and even a small church that was built here with a pretty modern architectural style. Crazy stuff, interesting stuff. At least I hope that it is interesting to you, because I mean, you're watching this video. And yeah, this station is pretty unique in an aspect that it doesn't have a connection directly underground between the two lines, the two platforms. Here's the U1, on the other hand is the S1. Pretty interesting ceiling design. One moment. Sorry, I once again got interrupted. Yeah. Pretty interesting stuff. I'm constantly saying interesting stuff. You can simply look at it yourself. It was all designs that I thought about for a few days and simply thought of and planned and so on. So it's more detailed than the old system. Here you need to go overground to change to the S1. And the S1 also is a pretty detailed and interesting station. It's also pretty simple, but it's yeah, it is yeah. What you're gonna notice is that these S lines have these pillars in the middle of them mostly, or something that resembles those pillars. Yeah, it's simply a design concept that I came up with to differentiate between the S line and the S lines and the the U lines. And yeah, I hope it's a good design option, quasi. So the last station I'm gonna show you today is the yeah, I think I'm just gonna take the U1 there. Is the southern terminus which is one of the stations that is pretty unique and pretty calming, pretty sympathetic atmosphere. I hope the train is gonna be here soon, because else I'm gonna be annoyed. It's a station that is directly located directly under the port, under the harbor, which I already mentioned. And you can see that there's another metro tunnel right here below the platform level. Right. Please depart. I think I'm gonna implement these small things like those lights that are supposed to lit up when a train enters the station, like this whole script and so on. I'm simply probably gonna do that in the upcoming time somewhere, when I find the time and when I'm just in the mood to do that. But I currently want to focus on other things. So this is the station, as you can see, and it has got trees in it. It is pretty blue focused by colors and by theme to signalize that you are at the port. Here's a burger stall. And what you're gonna notice is here that the entrances aren't gray, black, white, but they are instead different colors of, or shades of blue. Interesting stuff, because it is simply a stylistic element to signalize that you're directly at the port and that you can take the ferry from here. Not the ferry, but the ferry. English is a very interesting language. Crazy stuff. I think I might actually show you as a very last thing the overground sections that are in the North Harbor Park, because I already showed some of them, but I'm gonna show some more. Yep. Directly here, about 2 stations from here, there's the first overground station, and we're simply gonna go there. I think I'm not gonna commentate it too much right now. I simply gonna let you not watch this whole thing. Yeah, so here's a segment that is still gonna be completed over the upcoming time, so there's not much to see here right now. Simply some platforms and the underground station that is pretty interesting, and also a restaurant that I've already built here. Yeah, crazy stuff, interesting stuff. I really like this design of the station, and mainly I like the platform level itself. I'm really a fan of it. Alright. I think that's all for now. I'm just gonna assume that I've already shown everything that I wanted to show. I think I'm gonna show also some other major changes in the cityscape over the next few months, maybe a few videos. So for example, I think I haven't yet shown this project of mine. This was originally planned as a building, but I simply had some kind of creative attack or something and simply built this kind of sculpture, this gigantic kind of sculpture, and yeah, it simply looks good in my opinion. Yeah, so I hope you liked this whole video. It was pretty long, pretty overextended maybe, and still I hope I showed everything that was interesting and everything that I could, and yeah, I hope I made you feel interested in maybe following the next videos and maybe come up for the next few releases and so on, and maybe show some interest for what is up to come up next. So, hope you enjoyed, and yeah, see you guys in the next video. See you soon.